Hey y'all, and welcome to Brawl. My name is Brian, and Dan Bongino absolutely roasts Know Nothing Geraldo Rivera, and it doesn't get any better for them as this clip goes on. This is exactly the kind of energy we need in the FBI. Now let's dive in.
Dan, it's Dan.
Geraldo, it's not my fault you never know what you're talking about. It's not my fault that you never research anything before you come on the air.
You are so full of it. You know, that's why I hate coming on with you.
Folks, please
because
look
you
it
are
up
such
to
a
prove
cheap shot
how silly this guy is.
You're a backstabbing cheap shot.
Geraldo, let Dan talk.
Geraldo.
Dan.
He doesn't like to do that, Sean, because he always gets caught never knowing what he's talking about.
Facts.
And he's embarrassed.
Stick to the story.
And his position on the border. I did stick to the facts.
I'm embarrassed to be on this air with you. That's why I'm embarrassed.
You never know them. And then it's unbelievable. And your position on the border is so ridiculously incoherent.
You want to bet $1,000? You want to bet that? You want to put your money where your mouth is? You want to put your money where your mouth is? 16,000 infections Tuesday, 17,000 infections.
You gotta let him
in
talk.
Florida with Governor DeSantis.
Let him talk.
As long
as he's not talking about me, I'll let him talk.
Talk, Dan.
You're on this segment with me, you dunce. Well, how am I not going to talk about you? What is wrong with you? Are you okay? Listen, on the border, his position is ridiculous. You want to take away the rights of American citizens to put a medicine or a treatment in their body while simultaneously granting super rights to non-citizens who get to cross our border and get a free vaccination.
Were you not listening?
Despite saying
were you not listening?
That makes. Do you
were you not listening?
No.
You weren't even listening.
I heard exactly what you said.
I want everyone coming across the border to be vaccinated. Everyone coming across the border should be vaccinated.
I want everyone to cross the border legally first. Why don't you cross?
I don't care if they cross legally or illegally. I want them vaccinated.
Okay, there you go.
The most important thing is they get vaccinated.
So you just proved my point. You want to grant a set of rights to non-citizens, right? You want to allow them to walk in and out of the country while I have to stop at a line at a passport station to come back as a citizen, while you want to take away actual citizens' rights over controlling their own bodies and the medicines that go in it. Geraldo, your position is so ridiculous. Sane people around the country are looking and clawing at their faces right now. What is this guy talking about? It doesn't make any sense.
Did you take the bet on the 17,000 infections yesterday in Florida?
Geraldo,
did you take that bet or not?
Let me wait.
Now,
Geraldo,
notice how he changes.
No governor. Hold on
here.
a second. This is important. No governor in this country took every state agency and immediately protected the most vulnerable population, got them the vaccine first, and that was Ron DeSantis. Every state has had a hot spot. With the Delta variant, now we're learning, people that are even vaccinated, they're now getting the virus. But I talked to Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis has already mobilized every state agency again to make Regeneron and therapeutics for fully vaccinated people that get breakthrough cases of COVID so that they won't go to the hospital or die. No other state is doing it, Geraldo. It's happening down in Florida.
Wait, Sean.
Pretty close to 100%. My turn.
Last word.
My turn. Pretty close to 100% of all hospitalizations in Florida, as in the rest of the country, are unvaccinated people. And when you, Sean,
who did better?
You are the.
Wait a minute, I got a question. Who did better? New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Florida? What state did better, Geraldo?
Florida. He doesn't know, Sean. He doesn't
Florida, Texas, South Dakota.
Let me speak. You asked me a question. Let me answer it. Until recent weeks, Florida did a great job. Governor DeSantis did a great job.
I gotta go.
Sean,
we gotta go, but I want to remind people.
We'll get more into Geraldo's history in just a moment, but ultimately, that's just a bless your heart kind of moment right there. Dan Bongino, however, is absolutely ruthless here, and he's right to do so. See, this is why I'm so excited about him being in the FBI. It's not because of the way he's arguing here. It's because of that tenacity. It's because of that mindset. It's because of that idea of what is right and what is true compared to what is wrong and what is false. This dude has a full understanding of that, and that's a big reason why he's had such a massive audience. He's been one of the most successful podcasters in the past half decade. The dude has just been on fire ever since he left the Secret Service in disgust, by the way. I don't blame him for ultimately leaving. And so that's what I think we're going to see from the FBI. We're going to see Kash Patel being the more soft-spoken leader, but has the clear vision, while Dan Bongino is going to be sort of the bad cop to the good cop. And that's going to work in investigations, that's going to work for setting tone, that's going to work for culture, and that's something we need because, let's be honest, our FBI has been out of control ever since the Patriot Act, and it got to its worst zenith underneath the Obama administration, all because a handful of Catholics decided that they really did not like abortion, and then parents who had the audacity to speak out against their school boards for planting this ridiculous material, for allowing boys and girls restrooms, for just this litany of stupidity from woke culture to the LGBT stuff. Parents got so annoyed that they took to the school board meetings en masse after 2020, and oh boy, did that cause a ripple effect that I think permanently changed politics. But to make matters worse, what the FBI comes in is that they put these parents on a watch list. You have got to be kidding me. Someone being put on a watch list for their First Amendment rights when they're doing it non-violently, when they are not talking about or plotting to do something unspeakable to the American people, when they're simply saying, hey, what did you put in our textbooks again? They got put on a list for that. Now, that's just not an out-of-control FBI. That is an out-of-control federal government. That is a presidency that is under siege, and I can almost guarantee you that that Joe Biden didn't even know this was going on. As a matter of fact, I love this segment where Mike Johnson came along and basically just revealed how demented Joe Biden had become. Joe Biden still thinks that he is an 80s, early 2000s Democrat, when that's not the case anymore. Ever since 2014, it has been open the floodgates to woke, and let's see how far we can push this envelope. Well, they pushed it a little too far, and now we have Dan Bongino, who is going to be the the number 2 guy in the FBI. Man, that is just some beautiful justice here. And I even have to credit Sean Hannity, who did a fantastic job of showing the differences between the strains and just adding way more context to the situation. But we've really got to turn to Geraldo here, and I was never a fan of his, but even as a kid, I thought of him as a respectable journalist because he got his start being a pretty decent journalist just on camera. So this is what Geraldo does very well. He is good at presenting information. He is good at being a basic reporter. He is not good at being a panelist. And he got even better during the Iraq War as a war correspondent, and that's where he made, I think, is best. But ever since 2015 and some comments that he started to make then, he has been on this slow downward trajectory. Because simply put, he got too old to be in the field. Okay? He got too old to be in the field, but he still wasn't too old to be in front of camera. But he kept on picking fights with everyone at Fox News. He kept on getting picked on the 5. I remember watching him just being besieged, all because he took a take a little bit too far, and so Greg Gutfeld made a joke out of him time and time and time again. And of course, Jesse Waters, who's more combative, definitely stuck it to him over and over and over again. I think this led to him becoming very, very bitter, very jealous, very annoyed, and very frustrated. I would be too, but in that situation, where you keep doing the same thing over and over again and having the exact same result and expecting something different, that's the textbook definition of insanity. And that's what Geraldo did for about 10 years. He tried to be more of a panelist, and it just did not work. He was not presenting the best information. He wasn't able to make his points and his arguments. He's kind of like a lawyer in a way. Imagine a lawyer coming out and giving the court a step-by-step process of how things happened. That is something that Geraldo can do. Okay, that's teaching. But this, however, is arguing. And he's arguing with Dan Bongino and getting his clock cleaned. And then Sean Hannity has to come in and not only correct Geraldo, but also rescue him. Geraldo was a good journalist. All right, he did great work. I think he won a Pulitzer or was nominated for one. and he has done fantastic work in the field, but this is a completely different arena. He's not used to this. Dan Bongino, on the other hand, has specifically made it his career to be this sort of panelist, who has been used to this sort of back and forth, and even Sean Hannity, who would much rather Dan Bongino have his say than Geraldo, had to come in, swoop in, and rescue Geraldo with the last word, and even then, it still wasn't enough to make his point properly. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Brawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.